I want to salute the courage of all those who, in spite of the intimidation of the state and its many agents, both uniformed and ununiformed, from the Team Lagos, who were busy intimidating protesters in Lagos, to the Oros of Lagos, who were busy vibrating in a season when they should be hidden and be ashamed of themselves, to Asari, the fatso, who was busy threatening people up and down the place, to that bumbling buffoon that you call Wike, who was busy issuing threats. Each and every one of you were busy threatening other people like you'll live forever. God damn you all, one by one. But I urge you, incline your ears in this season, because it matters. It matters that you incline your ear and hear me very clearly. Every country grows on the back of hegemonies. Every system is designed to do something or the other. Systems do not occur by accident. They are functions of the desires of the designers. So if I wanted to design something with which to drink water, I wouldn't design this. But if I desire something that will contain liquid, I'll probably have something like this, right? They don't pay me, I know they advertise them. So I'll have something like this in a bowl contained, or a cup, right? So Nigeria was designed for a purpose. The British, its original owners, who are still in truth its owners, designed it in order to extract maximum value from it for the benefit of those who are not within Nigeria. Now, what can you see generally in the midst of, no, I think it's best, let's deal with this sectorally. So let's start. What was planted in the north? What did we see? What were the seeds? And what were the fruits that we saw in the north? We saw libraries looted. They didn't loot books. Remember that popular meme joke that was going around online about how a place in, I think it's Turkey, thieves stole, they didn't take books. Well, it happened live. We saw it in Nigeria. A public library was looted. They even carried dustbin, but nobody touched books. The tragic thing is that I think once Kaliwag once said that if you wanted to hide something from the black man, put it in books. Well, they didn't touch the books. They carried dustbin. I saw videos of young men, these were very strong men, tearing up the curbsides, drainage slabs, breaking them to extract the scrap metal. Yeah, I saw that. I saw, yeah, they stole traffic lights. Traffic lights. A dear friend told me of what happened in his own village, which is a local government headquarters. The local government warehouse was looted. The fertilizers in there were looted to the ground. But you know the more interesting part? Policemen came to carry their own. They didn't stop the looters. Soldiers came to carry their own. They didn't stop any looters. So you find that the looting was rife. And then they went further. They started sharing these incendiary WhatsApp messages, calling for people to attack politicians in their homes, loot it, burn it, kill them. They started carrying Russian flags up and down the place. They started calling for the military. We saw all that. Those are the harvests. Question is, what was planted? Ignorance was planted. Yeah. Divisions, ethno-religious divisions were planted. Bigotry was planted. Poverty planted. religious indoctrination to hatred was planted. All these were planted, and that was what battered what you saw. Let me break it down. For a system that institutionalizes inequity to be tolerated, you must necessarily render the victims stupefied. In order to achieve the task of stupefaction, feudalism routinely deploys 3 weapons. The first is poverty. Now, reverse that. The first is ignorance. The second is poverty. The third, not necessarily in these orders actually, is religion. Most of the time, the 3 are deployed simultaneously. But what I'll do is I'll take the effect of each one by one. When you deploy ignorance against a man, what you have done in essence is that you have limited his capacity to think his way out of his problem. The system does this in multiple fashions. And do not for once imagine that the ignorant are the ones who have not gone through formal education, to universities, polytechnics, or even secondary school for that matter. Those are not necessarily the ignorant. The ignorant are those who cannot use their minds to do anything of consequence. Those are the ignorant. So when a person is ignorant, the person is incapable of thinking his way through his problem. You now have a situation where the government of Nigeria deliberately keeps the people stupid. The educational policy is not designed to liberate the mind. It is designed to produce useful idiots. You still have people talking about the advantages of colonialism. History is not taught so that you do not have a recollection of where you're coming from. We have engineers graduating, civil engineers, but we still have Chinese engineers superintending road construction in Nigeria. We can't build because we are not allowed to build our own technology because we do not teach our own technology. Our medicine is lost. The knowledge of our medicine is largely lost because we've been taught to abandon and deride it institutionally. Now, when you render a people ignorant, it becomes easier to keep them poor. So the second leg of the weapon is poverty. What the poverty has done is to keep the people existential in their outlook. A man who is constantly looking for what to eat. Hunger drove the last protest. So it's no longer something that is not common. It's now common to every part of Nigeria. Hunger is common to everyone now. So you keep a people stupid, you keep them poor, so that you focus, even those who are still eating, they are worried about losing their capacity to eat. So a lot of people are silent in the face of the all-consuming evil because they are afraid that if they would speak, they will lose their capacity to guarantee their next meal. Which is why it's easy for somebody to tell you he's Muslim, you must hate him, or he's Christian, he should be hated, or he's a Shia Muslim, he's not human. Do you understand? So religion is intended to fetter the mind so that the human mind, which is desperately wicked, would not think outside acceptable parameters that might threaten the convention as defined by those who found religions. I'm not knocking religion. Don't worry. I'm also a Christian, even though I don't go to church. So don't worry. You can be as religiously stupid as me, whether you're a Muslim or a Christian or an Olorode in Lagos. It doesn't matter. Important thing is that when you have religion as weaponized in Nigeria, and I'll show you how weaponized it is. So peaceful protest was called. Government was busy threatening fire and brimstone. Police were busy issuing all kind of threats, thugs, Asari Donut, Fatso, one they call Sego in Lagos with Team Lagos, they call them. I think that was the team that was working with that one when they were looking to kill me in 2021. See, when all of, and then you are busy threatening this guy, I forget his name now, the Yoruba Liberty Movement guy. What's the problem with you guys? You go around threatening people like you yourselves, you won't even die again. Will you live forever? Stop all this nonsense and focus your brain on living a life that is worthy of emulation. So they were busy threatening people up and down the place. Not a single man of God, aside from Pastor Sam Aidogmo, spoke to the right of the protesters. But right in the middle of the protest that the police had been threatening fire and brimstone, of course, some people were busy walking and praying. When police began to kill people, brutalize people, when thugs began to come out to threaten people, not one of them had anything to say. But in the midst of that, they were walking and praying. Exactly what were you praying for? But religion has to change. It has to play its part. Just like Muslim clerics were busy trying to demonize the protest before it broke out. They were busy on behalf of government trying to demobilize the people from protesting. Instead of looking to focus their attention on peaceful protest, instead of looking to take control of the crowd, instead of looking to speak truth to government, but of course, how could they? The Sokoto Sheikh has already informed us when they were all sat in what should be the holies of holy in the Nigerian state, the occupier of the stolen seat informed all of them. And the people who got paid were largely sat in the room and they couldn't say a word. Thanks to that sheikh, at least we heard that one. So of course, how could anybody possibly talk? So religion played its part. So let's come to the West. What did we see? A determined crop of young people committed to non-violent protests, but who were violently repressed by the system. We saw that very clearly. We saw the thugs. We saw the police brutalizing protesters. In the north, it was protesters brutalizing police, and then police showing their usual self. Point I'm making is, across Nigeria, we are seeing the harvest. But the East is particularly interesting. Not a single consequential protest. Why? Nigeria planted indifference in the East. In the land of the Igbos, it planted neglect. It planted injustice. It planted inequities, as it has planted everywhere else. Don't get me wrong. But because they are the proving ground for each and every one of Nigeria's madnesses, what has happened is that Ndi Igbo turned his back and decided to sit down and look. Not that the Igbo man is not feeling the pains of Nigeria, but he knew that if he had joined, he would become the scapegoat. The insecurity has rendered the people who had never really had much impecunious, completely impoverished. So the weaponized poverty has been accelerated on account of insecurity. Do something. Address these issues, or the streets will boil again.